First thing we need to do is we need to remember where we were yesterday and what manifest destiny meant. What does manifest mean? Do you remember from yesterday? We looked it up. Oh, you got to look it up again. Go ahead. Presumed clear, or the idea is there. It's destiny. It's our destiny as Americans to have a country that stretches from ocean to ocean, and we will do whatever it takes to get that. And the video we watched kind of talked about that a little bit, didn't it? When he started, being silly, but he was talking about, sorry, Native Americans, sorry, Mexicans who live there, we're going to kick you out of the way because it's our destiny brought to us by God to own all of America from the Atlantic to the Pacific. Okay? That's manifest destiny. We see that things are happening at a regular rate through the 1830s and 40s, all the way up to 1850. Okay? And that's what we want to look at, are those things that cause that. On top of that, we're going to take a look at the things that actually brought about, if we want to look at it in an order, a sequence, you guys have this in your book. We can see that U.S. expansion with manifest destiny. 1845, the United States annexes Texas. Remember yesterday we talked about Texas, right? And we talked about the fact that those guys, once Mexico won, they took control of Texas. Texas fights for their freedom, lose at the Alamo, eventually win, and a treaty is made. Now you have your own country of Texas. Their own country of Texas, the Republic of Texas, wants to be annexed by the United States. The United States is a little nervous. Why are they nervous about annexing Texas? Do you remember why? Or bringing them into the Union? Yes? Wouldn't be balanced how? Good. See? There's that issue. There's that issue again. It wouldn't be a balanced number of slave states as opposed to free states. They wanted to keep that balance. Why did they want to keep that balance? That's the real question, isn't it? Why did they need to keep that balance? Yeah. Yeah, so they wouldn't go to war, right? They wouldn't have to duke it out. They tried their best. We see that by 1846, a new war begins. Mexico's not very happy with the United States. We annex Texas, and we decide that the border is the Rio Grande River. Okay? Running all the way down. But as you can see on this map, we won. There's a lot of stuff within that. We see that we have Zachary Taylor down in there. We have Scott down in there, these generals. Okay? And so that's kind of a big deal. We end up winning that war, and that comes after in about 1848. But for a couple years, we're duking it out with those guys. We go all the way down to Mexico City and capture it. Okay? But had we made that another one of our territories, what was the response to it? Do you remember what was said at the very end? If we capture Mexico and keep them, it'd be like taking poison. Okay? There wasn't going to be cooperation, and things were not going to work together well. And that's kind of a truth, right? So we get that area, we take care of it. At the same time, 1847, the Mormons are struggling with problems out east. Their belief system doesn't match the regular Judeo-Christian system. All right? So they have to find a place. They go to where a big salt lake is at. How many have been to Salt Lake City? Okay. All right. Salt Lake City is in Utah, kind of a dry place with a salt lake. It's kind of desolate. And these guys came in and they made it into a great territory and later a state. These Mormons did. A lot of issues differing, though. They were pretty much discriminated against. Move down to 1848. The United States wins the Mexican War and gains the Mexican cession. Oregon becomes U.S. territory. Part of that 1850 deal was to make Oregon a free state and Texas a slave state. Okay? Now, at the same time, the video that we watched, and if you're at home, you should watch it. The link is in the About tab. The video we watched talks about the fact that as these things are happening, Oregon and U.S. territory, California at the same time is being overrun by Americans into that area, right? Because of manifest destiny. All this stuff kind of happens quickly. Not like that, because 2 years of you guys is like a dog year, right? Each year is worth 7 years. But it does happen quickly. California becomes ours. Suddenly in 1849, boom, gold is found. Think that place was crazy with people? Yeah, I would say that it went crazy. People coming from the east. What are they looking for? Gold. But what do you think? What is the overall goal? Money, power, wealth. Okay, all of those things that that we look at, that people today still are hunting for that pot of gold, the end of the rainbow. Okay, good. And then we come down. Finally, we get our southern border all the way. It's something called the Gadsden Purchase. Establishes the southwestern U.S. border. Now our full border is set up. We got the 49th parallel for the top up by Oregon. We had to work out a deal with the British. See, we were sharing this area, okay? And eventually what happens is, as we're sharing this, a deal had to be made that we just continue on with this 49th parallel. We had already had that set, right? Way back in the earlier 1800s. It set all this up. This area up in here, however, was shared by U.S. and Britain. Okay? So now we have this solid. Oregon's free state. Something else came in they talked about with Henry Clay in that compromise of 1850. What was that phrase? Popular sovereignty. What did that mean? Do you remember what that meant? Okay, let me explain it to you. Each new state that comes into the Union is given the choice, okay, to decide whether or not they want to be slave or a free state. So the people have to vote and make their own choice. When we get into the next chapter, we'll discover that Kansas becomes bloody Kansas over this issue. Okay? So what is slavery, the issue of slavery doing? It's pretty much doing what to our country, would you say? Ripping it apart. And that's very good, very astute that you notice that, because it's the truth. Okay? Any questions about chapter 17? It's pretty much just how we're building up, expanding west, gaining new borders, and new ideas and compromises. Any questions? All right. Thank you very much.